Hello and welcome to EP Learning English, the channel where we not only improve your English, but also explore powerful ideas for a better life. I'm really happy you're here with me today. Whether you're at home, on a walk, commuting to work, or just taking a break. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope today's episode will give you both a better understanding of yourself and new ways to practice your English in a meaningful way. So, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt stuck? I mean that feeling when you're doing things every day, going to work, studying, taking care of responsibilities, but deep inside, something feels like it's not moving forward. You feel like you're on pause. Maybe it's in your career. Maybe it's your personal goals. Or maybe, and this is very common, you feel stuck in your language learning. You keep learning English, but you still don't feel confident speaking. If that sounds like you, then this episode is just for you. Today, we're going to talk about this strange and frustrating feeling of being stuck. We'll explore why it happens, how it shows up in our lives, and most importantly, how to move forward, even just a little bit. Feeling stuck is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a message, a signal, a sign that something needs to change. In our thinking, in our habits, or even in how we see ourselves. Now, I want to be clear. This is not just about giving you motivation or positive quotes. This episode is more than that. It's a chance to stop, reflect, and really understand what's going on inside you. It's about helping you notice the thoughts that may be holding you back, like self-doubt, perfectionism, or fear of failure, and giving you simple, realistic ways to move forward again. And while we're doing that, you're also learning English. Think about that. You're not just listening for fun. You're learning real vocabulary, natural sentence patterns, expressions people actually use in conversations. This is how fluency is built, slowly, naturally, and with topics that matter to you. So, as we go through this episode, I invite you to think about your own life. Can you remember a time when you felt stuck? What was going on at that moment? What did it feel like in your mind or in your body? And if you're feeling that way right now, what's something you hope will change? Keep those thoughts in your mind as we begin. This is your time for language growth, for self-reflection, and for unlocking a little more clarity in your journey. Let's begin. Why you feel stuck. Have you ever felt like you're moving, but not really going anywhere? Like you're doing things every day, waking up, going to work or school, talking to people, studying English, but somehow you still feel stuck. It's a strange and heavy feeling. You're active, but not satisfied. You're busy, but not really growing. It's like you're running on a treadmill. Your legs are moving, you're sweating, you're working hard. But when you look around, you're still in the same place. That's what feeling stuck can feel like. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It sneaks up on you. One day, you're just tired, unmotivated, and confused. You don't know why. You can't explain it clearly to other people. But inside, something feels off. Something doesn't feel right. You feel like you're waiting for something, but you don't even know what you're waiting for. People get stuck in many different areas of life. For some, it's their career. Maybe they've had the same job for years, and every day feels the same. They don't feel excited anymore. They want change, but they don't know what kind of change. They feel afraid to leave, but also tired of staying. It's like being in a room where the air is getting heavy. You want to open the window, but you're not sure how. Others feel stuck in their relationships, with family, friends, or partners. Maybe they keep having the same arguments again and again. Or maybe they feel alone, even when surrounded by people. They want connection, but don't know how to ask for it. Or they want space, but don't know how to take it. They feel emotionally frozen, not moving forward, not stepping back. And of course, many people feel stuck in their personal growth. They have big dreams, big ideas, but they keep putting things off. They want to learn new skills, build confidence, start a business, or even just take better care of themselves. But every day, they feel like they're waiting for the right time, the right mood, the right situation. That time never seems to come. So, they stay in the same place. And every day that passes, the dream feels a little farther away. This is very common with learning English, too. A lot of learners feel stuck at a certain level. Maybe they can understand grammar, read books, even pass exams. But when it comes to speaking, they freeze. Their mind goes blank. They think, why can I understand English, but I can't speak fluently? Or they feel shy, nervous, or afraid of making mistakes. So, they stay silent. And the more they stay silent, the more stuck they feel. It's like a cycle that repeats itself. Sometimes, the feeling of being stuck is not about what we are doing, but how we feel inside. Maybe we've lost our sense of direction. We don't know what we really want anymore. Or maybe we're waiting to feel confident, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until we have more time, more money, more support. But waiting becomes a habit. And time keeps moving, even when we don't. Have you ever looked around and asked yourself, why am I not moving forward? Maybe you've even said, I don't know what's wrong with me. If you've had thoughts like that, you're not alone. It's a part of being human. Everyone feels stuck sometimes. The important thing is to understand that feeling stuck doesn't mean something is broken. It just means something needs your attention. Something inside you is asking for change, and maybe even for courage. Sometimes, feeling stuck is like standing at a red traffic light. You want to go. You're ready. But something is saying, not yet. That something could be fear, uncertainty, or just the pressure of too many choices. And so you wait. But here's the thing. The light won't turn green on its own unless you're willing to look closely at what's stopping you. So, take a moment now. Think about your own life. Where do you feel stuck? Is it your career? Your confidence? Your English speaking skills? Is it a goal you've been avoiding? A decision you've been postponing? How long have you felt this way? And what do you think is holding you back? These are not easy questions, I know, but asking them is the first step forward. When we understand where we are, we can begin to imagine where we want to go. Feeling stuck is not the end of the road. It's a sign, a message, a gentle push to pause, look within, and take your next step, even if it's a small one. Common reasons we get stuck. So now that we understand what it means to feel stuck, let's look at why it happens. What are the real reasons behind this feeling? Why do we sometimes feel like we can't move forward even when we really want to? There are many possible answers, but today I want to focus on 5 of the most common causes. These reasons can come from outside of us, from our environment, from society, or from life circumstances. But most of the time, they come from inside, from our own thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. And the good news is, if the problem is inside, the solution can also come from inside. Let's start with one of the biggest reasons people feel stuck: Fear of failure. This fear is very powerful. It tells you, don't try, because you might not succeed. Imagine you have an idea. Maybe you want to apply for a new job, or start your own business, or speak English in public. But then, fear enters your mind. It whispers, what if you fail? What if people laugh? What if you're not good enough? And because of those thoughts, you do nothing. You stay in the same place. You avoid risk. You protect yourself. But at the same time, you lose an opportunity. Fear of failure doesn't stop bad things from happening. It just stops you from growing. Another common reason is perfectionism. This is the belief that everything must be perfect, or it's not worth doing at all. Perfectionists often set very high standards for themselves. If something isn't 100% correct, they feel like they've failed. They spend a lot of time preparing, planning, thinking, but never actually doing. For example, many English learners wait to speak until they can say things perfectly. But here's the truth. No one speaks perfectly all the time, not even native speakers. If you wait for perfection, you might wait forever. A third cause is overthinking. Overthinking is when your mind keeps going in circles. You think and think and think, but you never take action. You try to imagine all the possible problems, all the possible results. You want to choose the perfect path, the perfect answer, the perfect timing. But all this thinking leads to more confusion, not clarity. It's like standing at a crossroads, looking at 5 roads and saying, I need to be sure which one is best before I move. And while you're trying to decide, time passes, and you remain in the same spot. Let me tell you a short story here. A friend of mine once wanted to move to a new city to study. She looked at different schools, different programs, different cities. She read reviews, watched videos, even asked dozens of people for advice. Months went by. She still didn't choose. In the end, she didn't go anywhere because she was afraid of choosing the wrong option. That's the danger of overthinking. Sometimes, doing something is better than doing nothing at all. Next is something that affects almost everyone these days: comparing yourself to others. With social media, we see other people's lives all the time. Their success, their travels, their happiness, their perfect relationships. It's easy to look at all of that and think, why am I not there yet? What's wrong with me? But what we forget is this. We are comparing our real life to someone else's highlight reel. We don't see their struggles, their failures, their hard days. We only see the parts they choose to show. And when we compare ourselves to that, we start to feel behind. We feel less confident. We doubt our progress, even when we're doing just fine. That feeling of being behind can stop us from trying at all. And finally, many people feel stuck because of a lack of clear goals or direction. Sometimes we're not afraid, and we're not comparing ourselves to others. We just don't know what we want. We feel like we should be doing something bigger, something better. But we can't describe what that is. So we go through the motions, doing the same things day after day, without a clear purpose. It's like driving a car without a destination. You're moving, but you're not really going anywhere that matters to you. This often happens when people finish school or change jobs. Suddenly, there are too many options, or no options at all. Without clear goals, it's hard to feel motivated. It's hard to take action when you're not sure what the action is for. That's why goal setting, even small goals, can give your life structure, direction, and meaning. So now that we've looked at some of the main causes, fear of failure, perfectionism, overthinking, comparing yourself to others, and lack of clear goals, I want to ask you, which one feels most true for you? take a moment to reflect. Is it fear that's holding you back? Are you waiting for everything to be perfect before you begin? Do you spend too much time thinking and not enough time doing? Are you watching others and feeling like you're falling behind? Or are you unsure of what you want, so you just keep doing the same things? Whatever your answer is, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. These are normal experiences. You are not lazy. You are not weak. You are simply human. And like all humans, you are learning how to move forward in your own way, at your own pace. The important thing is to become aware of what's holding you. Because once you know what's stopping you, you can start finding your way out. The role of self-doubt and mindset. Let's talk now about something that silently affects many people. Something that isn't always easy to see, but has a very strong effect. I'm talking about self-doubt. Self-doubt is that little voice inside you that questions everything you do. It tells you things like, you're not ready, you're not smart enough, or other people can do it, but not you. And when you hear that voice too many times, it can build invisible walls around you. Walls that keep you from trying new things or believing in yourself. The tricky thing is, these walls aren't real, but they feel real. You don't see them, but you feel trapped by them. For example, maybe you want to start speaking English more often. You have the vocabulary. You've practiced the grammar. But right before you speak, something inside says, what if you make a mistake? What if they don't understand you? So you stay quiet. You play it safe. And slowly, your confidence shrinks. This kind of thinking comes from what we call limiting beliefs. A limiting belief is a thought that tells you what you can't do. For example, I'm not good enough. It's too late for me. Or, I'll never be fluent. These beliefs don't always come from you. Sometimes they come from past experiences. Maybe a teacher once told you weren't talented. Maybe someone laughed at your accent. Maybe your environment made you feel small. Over time, these moments turn into beliefs, and those beliefs shape the way you see yourself. But here's the truth. Just because you believe something doesn't mean it's true. You can change your beliefs. You can train your mind to think differently. And this brings us to a powerful idea called the growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that you can improve with time, effort, and practice. It means you believe that your abilities are not fixed. They can grow. People with a growth mindset don't say, I'm not good at this. They say, I'm not good at this yet. That one word, yet, makes a big difference. It gives you space to learn. It gives you permission to be a beginner. And that's where real progress begins. Now, in some cultures, making mistakes is seen as something negative. It's connected to shame or embarrassment. People are taught to avoid failure at all costs. Maybe you were raised in a place where only perfect answers were praised. Maybe you learned that it's better to stay silent than to be wrong. But here's the thing. Mistakes are not the enemy. They are your best teachers. When you try something, make a mistake, and then correct it. That's how deep learning happens. That's how growth happens. Let me share a small personal story. I once taught a student who never spoke in class. She always wrote beautiful grammar exercises, but when it came time to speak, she froze. One day, I asked her why. She said, I'm afraid of looking stupid. We had a long talk about learning, fear, and growth. Slowly, she began to understand that speaking is not about being perfect. It's about being brave. After a few weeks, she started answering questions, then joining discussions. Her English wasn't perfect, but her progress was amazing. Why? Because she changed her mindset. So now I want to ask you, what are your beliefs about yourself? Do you believe you can grow? Or do you believe you're stuck the way you are? Do you let mistakes stop you? Or do you use them to move forward? Remember, self-doubt is normal. Everyone feels it. But it doesn't have to control you. You can learn to speak kindly to yourself. You can choose to believe in your ability to change. Your mindset is like the soil where your future grows. If you plant seeds of doubt, you grow fear. But if you plant seeds of courage and curiosity, you grow confidence and success. Analysis paralysis. When you think too much. Let's talk about a common trap that many of us fall into, something called analysis paralysis. It's a big phrase, but the meaning is simple. It happens when you think too much about a decision or situation, and because of that, you end up doing nothing. You become so busy thinking, planning, and imagining all the options that you get stuck. You're frozen, not because you're lazy or unmotivated, but because you're overwhelmed by your own thoughts. Have you ever been in that situation? You want to do something, maybe start learning a new skill, apply for a job, or begin speaking more English. You start thinking, what's the best way to do this? Should I take a class or study alone? Should I watch YouTube videos or buy a course? What if I choose the wrong method? You start researching, comparing, reading reviews, asking for advice. Days or weeks go by, and in the end, you still haven't started. That's analysis paralysis. It's like trying to choose the perfect path. But while you're choosing, you're not walking. You're standing still. And the longer you wait, the harder it feels to begin. The pressure grows. The fear of making the wrong choice gets bigger in your mind. You feel stuck, or as we sometimes say in English, you're stuck in your own head. That means your thoughts are going in circles, and you can't find a way out. I remember a time when I experienced this myself. I wanted to start a podcast, maybe just like this one you're listening to now. I spent weeks thinking about the perfect microphone, the perfect topic, the perfect platform. I kept telling myself, I'll start once I'm fully ready. But that moment never came. The truth is, I was just afraid. I was overthinking because I didn't want to make mistakes. Finally, I realized something important. There is no perfect plan. There is only progress. We do this in language learning, too. Learners often spend a lot of time thinking about the best textbook, the best grammar guide, or the best app. But they don't spend time actually using the language, or they wait for the perfect moment to speak, maybe after one more course, or when their vocabulary is better. But the perfect moment never arrives. The best way to get better is to start. Even if it's messy, even if it's slow, even if it's not perfect. Overthinking makes us feel like we're doing something useful. It gives us the illusion of progress. But thinking without action isn't real movement. Imagine someone standing at the edge of a swimming pool, reading books about swimming, watching videos, and planning their moves, but never jumping in the water. That's what analysis paralysis looks like. Knowledge is helpful, but action is what brings change. So I want to invite you now to take a moment and reflect. Where in your life are you overthinking? Is there a decision you've been trying to make for a long time? Is there a project or goal you keep delaying because you want everything to be just right? Are you spending more time thinking than doing? If yes, it's okay. We all do it. But awareness is the first step. Once you see the pattern, you can begin to change it. Try this. The next time you feel stuck in your thoughts, pause and ask yourself, what is one small action I can take right now? Just one step, even if it's not perfect, even if it's small. Because small steps lead to big changes over time. Remember, your thoughts are important, but they're not the boss of you. Don't let overthinking stop you from living the life you want, or learning the English you dream of speaking. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And most importantly, take action. The myth of motivation. Why waiting to feel ready doesn't work. Let's talk about something that many people believe, but that often holds them back. The idea that you need to feel motivated before you can begin. A lot of people think that motivation comes first and action comes after. In other words, they wait for a special feeling, a strong desire, a push of energy, a moment of inspiration, before they start doing something important. But here's the truth. That feeling doesn't always come. And if you wait for it, you might be waiting forever. The idea that we need to feel ready is a myth. Of course, motivation can help. It feels good when you're excited about a goal or a new challenge. But motivation is not stable. It comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired. Other days you feel tired or distracted or unsure. That's normal. What really makes a difference is not motivation. It's consistency. Doing something even when you don't feel like it. Taking small actions again and again. That's how real change happens. Let's use an example. Imagine you want to improve your English speaking. You tell yourself, I'll start practicing when I feel more confident. But confidence doesn't appear out of nowhere. It grows through action. You can't think your way into confidence. You have to act your way into it. You speak. You make mistakes. You learn. You try again. Slowly, your brain starts to believe, hey, I can do this. That's when confidence begins to grow. So many learners say, I'll start speaking when I'm ready. But what does ready even mean? Does it mean perfect grammar? A large vocabulary? No mistakes? If that's what you're waiting for, you'll never start. Because no one feels 100% ready. Even fluent speakers still make errors. What separates them is not perfection. It's practice. There's an expression in English that says, don't wait for the stars to align. This means, don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until everything feels easy and clear. Life is rarely that simple. Things will always be a little messy, a little uncertain. But that's okay. Starting anyway, in the middle of the mess, is a powerful choice. Think about it like going to the gym. If you wait until you want to exercise, you might not go very often. But if you build a habit, going on certain days, at a certain time, you don't need motivation. You just show up. Over time, the action becomes part of your routine, and your body and mind begin to change. The same is true for learning English. If you only study when you're in the mood, your progress will be slow. But if you build a small routine, maybe listening to this podcast 3 times a week, repeating what you hear, writing your thoughts in English, speaking out loud for 5 minutes a day, you will grow. Not because you were always motivated, but because you were consistent. So let me ask you, are you waiting to feel ready before you start something important? What if you stopped waiting and started anyway? What if you did just one small thing today, even without motivation? Could you write one sentence in English? Say one phrase out loud? Record your voice for 30 seconds? That one small action could lead to another, and another. And before you know it, you've started a journey. Motivation is nice, but it's not the foundation. Action is. Movement is showing up again and again, even on the days you don't feel like it. That's what creates growth. That's what leads to change. So if you've been waiting for the right moment to begin, I have good news for you. The right moment is now. Don't wait for the stars. Don't wait for motivation. Just begin. Right where you are, with whatever you have. You might be surprised at how far that first step can take you. What you can do to get unstuck. Now that we've talked about why we feel stuck, let's focus on something more important: how to get unstuck. The good news is that you don't need a big plan, a huge change, or a perfect solution. Most of the time, getting unstuck starts with one small step. And from there, things slowly begin to move. So let's go through a few simple, practical things you can do. Things that might help you move forward again, even if it's just a little, even if it's slow. Because, remember, it's about progress, not perfection. The first thing you can do is set one tiny goal. Not a big goal, not a life-changing goal. Just one small, clear action. For example, if you feel stuck in learning English, your tiny goal could be, I will listen to English for 10 minutes every morning. Or, I will learn 3 new words today. If you feel stuck in your personal life, your goal could be, I will go for a 15-minute walk. Or, I will clean one part of my room. Small goals are powerful because they're not overwhelming. You can actually do them, and when you do, you feel better. That positive feeling gives you energy to do more. Next, try to break your routine. Sometimes we feel stuck simply because every day feels the same. We wake up, do the same things, think the same thoughts. Our mind gets tired of the same pattern. You don't have to change your whole life. Just change something. Try a new coffee shop. Walk a different way home. Listen to music in a new language. Even small changes in your daily habits can help your brain wake up and see life differently. Breaking routine helps you remember that you can make changes, even small ones. Another powerful step is to talk to someone. When we feel stuck, we often stay quiet. We keep everything inside. But sharing your thoughts with someone you trust can really help. It could be a friend, a teacher, a family member, or even a coach or therapist. Talking helps you organize your thoughts. Sometimes, just saying things out loud makes the problem feel smaller. And sometimes, the other person gives you a new idea or perspective you hadn't thought about. You don't have to solve everything alone. You can also try to reflect and journal. Writing in a journal is like having a conversation with yourself. You don't need to be a good writer. Just write your thoughts as they come. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Or, why do I think I feel stuck? You can write in your first language, or, if you're practicing English, try writing in English too. It's a great way to practice vocabulary and self-awareness at the same time. When you see your thoughts on paper, they become easier to understand. You can start to notice patterns, fears, and ideas that are hidden in your mind. And here's a very important step. Take imperfect action. Don't wait to be ready. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Just do something. Anything. Even if it's small, even if it's messy. Want to speak better English? Start by saying one sentence out loud today. Want to feel healthier? Drink a glass of water and take a short walk. Want to build a new habit? Start with just 2 minutes. The action doesn't have to be perfect. What matters is that you do it. Taking imperfect action builds confidence. It reminds you that movement is possible, even when it's not perfect. These small actions may not feel like much at first, but over time, they build something powerful. Momentum. That's the feeling of forward movement. The more steps you take, the easier it becomes to keep going. And as you keep going, your belief in yourself begins to grow. I know it's not always easy. Some days, you'll feel like nothing is changing. That's okay. The key is to stay consistent. Keep showing up for yourself, even on the days you don't feel strong, even when the progress is invisible. Trust that small efforts, repeated over time, can create big results. So, as you listen to this now, I want you to ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today to move forward? It doesn't need to be impressive. It just needs to be real. One tiny goal, one new habit, one conversation, one written page. That's enough to begin. Remember, you don't have to do everything at once. You just have to start. Getting unstuck doesn't mean changing your whole life in one day. It means being kind to yourself. It means choosing progress, not perfection. And it means trusting that even small steps can lead to big change, if you keep walking. Stuck is not forever. A new perspective. If you're feeling stuck right now, I want to remind you of something very important. Stuck is not forever. Even if it feels like nothing is changing, even if you feel lost or tired or unsure, this is not the end of your story. Feeling stuck doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're failing. In fact, it might mean that something new is about to begin. Sometimes in life, we go through quiet periods. Things slow down. Nothing seems to move. We feel confused. We don't know what's next. These moments can feel heavy. We might ask ourselves, why is nothing working? Or, what am I doing wrong? But maybe, just maybe, that stillness has a purpose. Maybe it's part of something deeper. There's a beautiful quote I want to share with you. It says, "The darkest hour is just before dawn." This means that right before things get better, they often feel the hardest. Right before the sun rises, the night is at its darkest point. But the light is coming, even if you can't see it yet. The same is true in our lives. Sometimes, when we feel stuck or lost, we are actually in the middle of transformation. We just don't realize it yet. Think about nature. A seed stays under the soil for a long time before it breaks open and grows into a plant. A caterpillar has to go inside a cocoon before it becomes a butterfly. That time of waiting, of silence, of stillness, it's not a waste. It's part of the process. And your process is no different. Maybe the reason you feel stuck is because you are about to grow. Something inside you is preparing for change. When we change the way we see things, our experience begins to change too. What if stuck is not a dead end, but a pause? What if it's your body or your heart asking you to slow down and listen? Maybe you need to rest. Maybe you need to reflect. Maybe something deep inside you is shifting, and it needs time. This is not always easy to hear, especially in a world that tells us we should always be doing more, achieving more, moving faster. But growth doesn't always look like action. Sometimes growth looks like stillness. So I want to ask you, what lesson might be hidden inside this moment of stillness? Is your stuck trying to teach you something? Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's helping you notice your fear, so you can face it. Maybe it's showing you that the path you're on is not the one you truly want. Or maybe it's reminding you that you need to reconnect with yourself before moving forward again. We all want quick answers. We all want fast results. But real change takes time. And the moments that feel the most uncomfortable are often the ones that shape us the most. So if you're in one of those moments now, if you're in your darkest hour, hold on. Dawn is coming. Keep going. Keep showing up. Keep trusting that this season of your life has meaning, even if you can't see it yet. And if you're learning English right now and you feel stuck, remember, fluency is not a straight line. It's a journey. Some days you'll feel confident. Other days you'll feel like you're not making progress. But every day you keep trying. You are growing, even when it feels slow, even when it feels invisible. Language, like life, grows with time, care, and consistency. So breathe. Give yourself some grace. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are exactly where you need to be for your next step to begin. This is just a chapter, not the whole story. As we come to the end of today's episode, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've talked about. We began by exploring that deep, uncomfortable feeling of being stuck. The sense that you're moving through life, but not really moving forward. You might feel like you're going in circles, or like something is holding you back, even when you don't know exactly what it is. We then looked at some of the common reasons behind this feeling: fear of failure, perfectionism, overthinking, self-doubt, and comparing yourself to others. We talked about how these things often create invisible walls in our minds, and how they stop us from taking action. You also learned about analysis paralysis, when we think so much that we stop ourselves from doing anything at all. We also discussed the myth of motivation, and how waiting to feel ready can delay our progress forever. Instead, we learned that action, even small, imperfect action, often leads to motivation, not the other way around. Then, we focused on solutions. You don't need to change your whole life in one day. You just need to take one small step. Set a tiny goal. Break your routine. Talk to someone. Write your thoughts down. Try something new, even if it's not perfect. These small actions, when done consistently, can help you move forward again. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress, step by step. Finally, we explored a new perspective. That maybe feeling stuck is not the end, but the beginning of something important. Maybe it's a sign that you're about to grow or change. Like the quote says, "The darkest hour is just before dawn." You might not see the sunrise yet, but it's coming. You are not alone in this feeling. Many people feel stuck at different times in life, and many people find their way out. You can too. So now, as we close this episode, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful question. What's one small action you can take today to move forward? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just something that reminds you that you can move. You can take action, and you can create change, little by little. Maybe you can write in your journal for 5 minutes. Maybe you can repeat a few sentences from this episode out loud to practice your speaking. Maybe you can send a message in English, or try something new with your routine. Whatever it is, just begin. Take that first step. And then take another tomorrow. That's how momentum builds. And if this episode spoke to you, I encourage you to listen to it again. Try listening and repeating parts out loud to practice your fluency. You can also pause and write down your thoughts in English as a journaling exercise. This is not just about understanding the message. It's also about growing your English skills in a way that feels personal, useful, and real. You are doing more than you think, and you are stronger than you know. So please remember this. You're not alone, and you're not stuck forever. This is just one chapter of your story, and new pages are waiting to be written. Thank you for spending this time with me on Code Your English. I hope today's episode brought you clarity, comfort, and confidence. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and never stop believing in your ability to move forward.